Hey classmates, my name is Michelle Piercy. Hi, how are you? I do apologize for this late discussion board post, for I've had a very busy week. However, I would like to discuss the time when I was involved in Hurricane Matthew. My family and I were involved, to be exact. That was a horrific time, need I say. Let's start from the beginning. So, I didn't even know the storm was coming. My grandmother called me 2 days in advance and she was freaking out like, oh my gosh, Michelle, did you get the eggs? Did you get your butter? I'm sorry, not butter. Did you get eggs? Did you get your bread? Did you get your milk? So on and so on, and another list of groceries that she just rambled on. And I was like, Grandma, what are you talking about? What do I need to go to the grocery store for? And she's like, you don't know? And I'm like, Grandma, what am I supposed to know? Remind you, she lives in Georgia. So I didn't even know that she got news about North Carolina all the way in Georgia. However, it made it to Georgia. So I didn't take her seriously. You know, I just was thinking like my grandmom is my grandmom. She's over the top dramatic. So I didn't go to the grocery store. I didn't prepare for this storm at all. So the morning of the storm, I woke up pretty late. Me and my children woke up late that morning. I was off of work. We stayed up all night long playing video games. And when we woke up that morning, it was raining pretty hard. The wind was blowing, but I was thinking like, okay, we're just catching like maybe some type of side storm. The storm is nowhere near us. It won't be that bad. So I thought. So the storm hits us. Like we're in the eye of the storm. I go to the grocery store. The grocery store is packed. Like everyone's there. Lines are out the door. It was terrible. So then the electricity goes off. In the grocery store. So they shut down the grocery store. Remind you, I still did not get my groceries. So, excuse me. I go home, and while I'm driving home, I see water just piling up on the side of buildings, flooding. So I'm like, oh gosh, maybe Grandma was right. So it stops raining, and I'm thinking in the back of my mind, well, the worst is done. A couple flooded streets, electricity is going, but hey, tomorrow's still going to come, right? So tomorrow came, and I was thinking like, okay, the electricity should come on any hour now. No. And then my friend calls me and she's like, hey girl, did you hear? They're going to cut the water off. I'm like, what? Why? And she's like, because the sewage is backing up into the water system. Awesome. So then, excuse me again, about an hour after they cut off the electricity, they cut off the water. So now we not only have electricity, no food because the grocery stores and everything is closed, we now have no water. So then I get a phone call from my grandmother and she's like, are you watching the news? And I'm like, no, Grandma, why would I be watching the news? I don't have electricity. She's like, the Lumbee Dam has flooded. And I'm like, it couldn't have because I'm like 30 minutes. No, I wasn't 30 minutes. I'm like 15 minutes away from the Lumbee Dam. How could it have overflown and me not know? Why did I ask that question? Days go by. Remind you, schools are closed, so my children are not in school. Schools were closed for about a month. Days go by. As the days go by, the water rises and rises and rises. It's so bad to the point where like people are on their roof, okay? The ones who couldn't make it to the shelters, I don't know how they survived. My heart goes out to you guys. But to make a long story short, I went without electricity, water. Oh, and the gas stations didn't have gas. I forgot to include that. So no gas, no electricity, no water, no gas, no food, at least for no grocery stores or any stores, for over a month. I hadn't watched TV for 3 months. I had to leave my home and everything behind. You know, all the things that I considered valuable and meaningful, quote unquote. I thought I was broken. I was so scared to have to start all over with 2 little girls, and I couldn't show it because they were watching me, and they were scared enough, so I had to be strong, But guys, I was so scared. And I'm going to wrap this up because I know I'm well past my 4 minutes. Please forgive me. I talk so much. But guys, that was a very, 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 very vital time for me. And the reason why it was so important is because I was at my lowest of lows, and I thought I was alone, and I thought I was depressed. And yes, I thought I was depressed. But you know what? God showed me all those worldly things that I considered valuable, that I considered important, they weren't. He took them away from me because I put them on a pedestal higher than him. And I realized that afterwards, after going without television, after being out of the world completely for 3 months. Let me tell you something. God showed me how strong I was. He showed me that no mountain is high enough. No valley is long enough. No ocean is deep enough. Okay? For me to make a way. And the only way that I can make that way is through him that empowers me. So basically what I obtained from that experience is that I am a very strong and able person. Worldly things do not matter. They are not important. And that I serve a God that is very, very, very high and almighty. And I'm appreciative. And you know what? Most people to this day probably still cry and cringe at the thought of Hurricane Matthew. But I'm thankful for it because it showed me what I was made of. And I got a stronger connection with the Most High. But I'm going to wrap this thing up because I'm going on 8 minutes. But thank you guys for listening. I hope I was entertaining. What? Like, nah. And you guys enjoy the rest of your night. God bless.